Sarah Vaughan's voice was one of the most remarkable instruments in the annals of song. It spanned almost 3 octaves. Her career spanned 5 decades. Her art transcended such categories as jazz and pop.
Sarah Vaughan was such a complicated person, and I'm not quite sure there's anyone, if they're being truthful, that can say, I knew who this woman was.
Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play.
She's a very joyful person, and there were some aspects about her which were very sad in some respects. She knew she had this great gift, this great ability to sing, and at the same time, she was very, very insecure.
But she knew what she was doing, and she knew how to do what she was doing. And man, the whole club would just say, get everybody breathe and start lighting cigarettes and everything. So she had a way of just taking charge of the whole thing. She'd have the whole club in the palm of her hands.
Shadow of your smile when you are gone.
She had a tone and pitch and a musicianship that was always different from anybody else's and very distinctive.
It's so hard to let you go, but it's only because I know that you're not the kind of a boy for a girl like me.
To her fans, who showered her with the sort of adulation usually reserved for operatic divas, she was the divine one. To the musicians, she was sassy, or just plain sass. Not just a girl singer, but a fellow instrumentalist who mastered the changes, could improvise with the freedom of a horn, and had that special dimension called soul.
You're just the kind of a boy who will always play fair. I'm just the kind of a girl who would never be square. It's so hard to let you go, but it's only because I know that you're not the kind of a boy. You're not the kind of a boy. You're not the kind of a boy for a girl like me.
I used to take her to church, a baby. And she never wanted to sit with me in church. She always wanted to go where the organist was and sit there with her.
Jesus, you're the center of my joy.
The organist at church taught her until she couldn't have nothing else to teach her, because she told me the child knew more than she did.
I could sing, but when I was little, they always had me playing the organ in church or piano in school for the choirs and all that. And I always said, I want to sing, y'all.
Sarah Lois Vaughan was born and raised in a working-class neighborhood in Newark, New Jersey, a city still noted for its fine gospel music. It was in church that her gift for music first revealed itself, but Newark also offered more worldly venues for her talent.
She was sneaking around trying to get out in the nightclubs. She didn't want me to know it. And she would steal out, and I would... somebody come in and tell me, say, well, you know, I saw your daughter at this place, at this man's nightclub. I said, you did? He said, yes. He said, you know what? I said, what? He said, I would like to have her to work for me. I said, she's only 15.
On a dare, Sarah entered the amateur night contest at Harlem's Apollo Theater. Billy Eckstein just happened to be there.
I had a check that I had to get cashed. So I went by the Apollo. There's the man, the cashier there, Mr. Frankel. He was the only one who could cash it. And he was up at Frank's having dinner. You know, right down the street, the restaurant. They said, you should be back any minute. So go on and watch show. We stand in the back there, you know, in the Apollo. So I stood back here. And then this little girl came out from Newark, New Jersey. They announced singing Body and Soul, Sarah Vaughan.
For you I sigh, for you.
Sass was a little nondescript looking girl then. She's 17 going on 18. It's a voice that I hadn't heard, you know, hard to describe. It was just something that you hadn't heard, you know. Same way on instrumentalists that you hear, when Bird, or when you hear him the first time, what the hell is this, you know?
Well, she went for 3 nights, and each night there was the place was packed and they couldn't take her. So the 3rd night she went, they took her and she won, and her payment was $10.
Well, I went backstage. In fact, I was after I heard about 16 bars, I was on my way. And when she came off, we were in town because we were going in the Apollo. I was with Earl Hines then. And we were rehearsing down in Nola's studio. So I went around to Teresa and told Earl about her. I said, I'm going to bring her down to rehearsal.
I said, well, her father, he didn't approve. He didn't approve of nothing. He didn't approve her going out the door. But that's where it was.
She had her mind made up. I mean, that was so good. And then she could sit down at the piano and play beautiful changes. You know, she came equipped. That's what was so impressive with all the guys, the musicians, too. Respect is something that very seldom is bestowed like that. I don't think you can find any musician that didn't love Sass.
Once in a while, will you dream of the moments I shared with you? Our moments before we two drifted apart. In those smoldering embers, one spark may remain, but if love still can remember, that spark may burn again. I know that I'll be contented with yesterday's memories, knowing you think of me once in a while. once in a while you'll think of me.
Sarah joined the famous Earl Hines Band as singer and second pianist in the spring of 1943. Billy Eckstine, Hines' biggest star, left in the fall to start his own band. Sarah soon quit Father Hines and joined Mr. B's history-making outfit.
I was 18, and when I joined that orchestra, there were so many good musicians. The whole band was full of stars. There was like Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Benny Green, Fats Navarro, Gene Ammons, and on and on and on.
The Eckstine Band became the incubator of the radical new jazz style, soon to be labeled bebop.
As a big band idiom, we were the first with that. To use the usages of different sounds of chord progressions and things like that, and it was a different sound.
After a year with Eckstine and his young bebop firebrands, Sarah embarked on what was to be, to the very end, a consistently successful solo career. Singing at Cafe Society in 1946, she met her first husband, George Treadwell, who played trumpet in the band behind her. He became her manager and musical director, surrounded her with first-rate accompanists, and also, Svengali-like, glamorized her image.
I'd be happy just to spend my life.
The first that I heard of her, I think, was records with a really fresh sound. Nothing like Ella, nothing like Billie Holiday or any of the other girl singers.
In a way, she would take a word, like a one-syllable word, and make it a three-syllable word and bend in the notes, like, why do I just wither and forget all resistance when you and your magic pass by? My heart's in a dither there when you're at a distance, but when you are near, oh my, it's
not the pale moon that excites me, that thrills and delights me. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. It isn't your sweet conversation that brings this sensation. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. Evening breeze caress the trees.
For 6 years running, from 1947 to 1952, she won both the downbeat and metronome polls. During this period, she moved from the small music craft label to big-time Columbia Records, who saw her as a potential pop star. She did have some near hits, but never felt comfortable with the trite material she was made to record.
Hot and cold running tears broke this heart of mine in two, and I'll never be.
Sarah's next record contract resolved the pressures of commercialization in a novel way. She recorded pop on the parent label Mercury, and on the subsidiary, MRC, she recorded jazz.
My brave Indian warrior, since first I met you, I can't forget you, you Cherokee.
I mostly pattern after horns. I listen to them, and if I can't do it the way that they do it, then I can twist it around.
Mm-hmm. Singing like a horn, I can understand that because Dizzy Gillespie and everybody else agrees that if you don't sing something that Louis Armstrong has played, you aren't into the jazz field per se. And Billie Holiday, I understand, also said the same thing, that singing like an instrument is the one thing. And the voice is the first instrument.
I don't know, singing and interpreting a song like Sass would do it, I don't think that would happen, you know, because interpretation is the same thing as, you know, if a guy taking a solo on his horn, you know, you make it yours. Some of the things that Sass has done, and just did them out off the top of her head, you know.
Playing for Sarah Vaughan during that period was similar to playing with an artist such as Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Lester Young, to me, because it was loose. In fact, on that Shirley Bop thing, we never discussed that. We just started doing it. And I would listen to the way she would call the other names while we're playing. John Malachi, Crazy Joe Benjamin. So I decided I would wait. Just before she would say Roy, I would set her up. Then she would say Roy. And we didn't plan it. Then after she said Roy, I would say, then she'd say Haynes, and I'd come up with something else. And these things just happen. And she had the ears, and I guess my ears were open as well.
Roy Haynes.
She was a super musician, marvelous player. Chicago, Illinois, they had 5-day weeks with musicians. Sarah would come in town playing places like the Blue Note, and on Monday and Tuesday would be the off nights for the musicians. And she carried a trio with her, Jimmy Jones, some other people. And Norman Simmons tells a story about, they asked if he would sub on the 2 nights. So he said, sure, where's the music? And they said, there isn't any. He said, what do you mean there isn't any? He said, there isn't any music. He said, but I hear you guys changing keys, you know, and they said, oh, we just do that extemporaneously, you know. And she picks up on it and what have you. Or if she changes keys, we join her, you know, we go with her. He says, oh, no. He wouldn't get involved in that.
But she had a way of handling all situations, especially on the stage. You know, we'd play, I don't remember playing any place where there were not a lot of people, where it wasn't crowded. In Europe, I remember when we went to the West Indies, the people just went crazy. We would be in a taxi or something, or a limousine, and they wouldn't want to turn the limousine over. You know, on stage, I remember places like Mr. Kelly's in Chicago and Fontainebleau, Miami Beach, different type of audiences. She really could hold those audiences, even with something very slow, when she's singing a slow tempo, slower than I ever heard any singer.
We'd like to do a number that I recorded not too long ago. It's very beautiful, and we do hope that you enjoy. The shadow of your smile when you are gone will color my dreams
look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. A wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kiss your lips, and so did remember spring. All the joy that love can bring, I'll be remembering the shadow of your smile.
Like Sarah said, somebody asked me once, Sarah, how you sing so pretty like that? Yeah, I drink booze, you know. I drink booze and I smoke cigarettes and I stay high. That's how I do it. I stay up all night. I hang out, she said. That's how she did it. And to the end, she hung out.
She was really one of the fellas, so to speak, because I remember one period when we were traveling with the Basie Band, was a show called Birdland Stars of 1955 or whatever year it would be. And we're on the highway in a bus. And Sarah decides to drive the bus down the highway. Now, it wasn't fashionable in those days to see a lady driving a big bus.
She never did the things that one singer has to do, and then another, the spritzing the throat, breathing, not eating for 6 hours before the performance because it's resting here. Sarah could eat a 12-course meal and come out and do the show, and I think many people have seen this and have been amazed.
I remember eating with her on the road in the dressing rooms. I remember getting to the theater one morning, and she was lying on the dressing table, you know, where the mirror is, in the theater, sound asleep, but getting some sleep. So that her performance, that was one of those big shows we were traveling with.
A girl on the road, man, she got a tough job, man, because a girl out there is like the girl vocal. She got to be a certain type of chick. Because there ain't no, man, when the bus stops to run and get the rooms, they run all over her. They ain't going to pick up her bag. You see, most of the guys on the road. She's got to be a strong person and a like person. You know, if it's one of those broads that's with her nose in the air, oh, she's in trouble. Doing those days. Sash was perfect on the road with the guy.
A day in, a day out, the same old hoodoo follows me about. The same old pounding in my heart whenever I think of you. Darling, I think of you day in and day out, day out, day in. I needn't tell you how my days begin. When I awaken with a single one possibility in view. Possibility of maybe seeing you. Come rain, come shine, I meet you and to me the day is fine. Then I kiss your lips, the pounding becomes the ocean's roar, 1,000 drums. Can't you see it's love? Can there be any doubt? When there it is, day in, day out, day in, day out. Same old hoodoo follows me about. of you. Darling, I think of you day in and day out, day out, day in. I needn't tell you how my days begin. When I awaken with a single one possibility in view. Possibility of maybe seeing you. Come rain, come shine. Meet you and to me the day is fine. Then I kiss your lips. The pounding becomes the ocean's roar. A thousand drums. Can't you see it's love? Can there be any doubt of when there is? There it is. Day in, day out, there it is. There it is. Day in, day out, there it is. Day in, day out.
Sarah had a tremendously legitimate concert operatic voice and the temperament to go with it. She could be very difficult if she didn't care for the musicians that were working with her. I wouldn't doubt that they might retire after the experience, a bad experience with Sarah.
Well, you were called Sailor. That was one of the nicknames. Was that because your vocabulary broadened as you toured with musicians?
Very much so. I can cuss out, and I can out-cuss Popeye the Sailor Man.
Can you? Give us a sample of some of your best
I
shots.
certainly will not. I want to be on your show, Dick. I don't want to be beeped off. But when you get amongst friends who do that,
Then you let it out.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Sarah did go out of evenings and hang out with friends, but in a very private way, in the darkest corner, the last table in the place. She'd surround herself with her few friends and have a very private party.
Our dressing rooms were next door to each other, and she's, come on over here and have a drink, Mother. Yeah. That was family profanity. That was all in the family, you know. And we sat down and we had some cognac together. She was a very, very private person.
We had a way of being happy through all our trials and tribulations. It was just the fun kept going on.
Given any standard song, Sarah, as she had been condemned for doing, would never sing it straight, it seemed. Many people did not care for this. Others loved that fact.
There was never any problem with her as far as I was concerned. We got along so beautifully, and that's the way that her life was. We used to sit many times at her house or my place, and instead of getting into the music, we would sit there for hours just watching the hockey game or the baseball game or the Dodgers or the Mets. She loved sports. She loved movies, and we'd just sit there, and she'd order some food. But when the situation got down to, Sarah, let's get something done, she would probably end up saying, well, you know what to do. And away I'd go, you know, and I'd come back and I'd say, what do you think, Sarah? And many times, I can tell you, we would go to a rehearsal where she wasn't really prepared, and inside of 2 minutes, she had that kind of mind as far as music was concerned. She would learn just so quickly.
To anyone who might understand music, Sarah could, at the end there, she was singing down to a low D sharp below middle C, which is quite astounding for any female.
She could go way down into these deep tones, and I don't know the extent of her range, but I do know this, that she had a falsetto that could take her up extremely high, which probably would give her well over 3-octave range.
She could fill a house without a microphone. You'd feel it in the wood, in the floor. Some of the great old concert houses in the country, you could feel Sarah, not just hear her. The floor would resound with her voice.
I'm a little lamb who's loose in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who'll watch over me. I know he may not be the man. Some girls think of as handsome, to he'll carry the key. Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed? Follow my lead. Oh, I need someone
Oh, it's a mess up here, boy. I'm telling you. Maybe I should drink a little water. Do you know they had ice in here one time? The ice is gone. I can't stand warm water, but any kind of water will do now. May you live forever and may I never die. I was just plain water. 'Cause I never drink while I'm working. I think I made up my mind that I like to play wolf trap in the wintertime. It was hot last year and it was hotter this year. It would be fun. We could just put on our coats and scarves and hats and be comfortable. You could really see what I look like. You know, my makeup's already gone. Down the drain. Anyway.
My mom used to always make the remark, I come out on stage looking like Lena Horne, and I leave looking like Sarah Vaughan. And it's very sad to me because it's all based on image. And for my mom, in the last few years of her life, there were two things that were really important that she wanted to do. One was to make a video, a music video, and one was to have her own TV special. And I'm not going to mention names, but someone had said to her, you know, it's an image media right now, and you know, maybe if you lost weight and we did these kind of things, we could get that for you.
She did tend to measure her success against Tom Jones and people, you know, people who have made these millions of dollars for a period of time. And as we know, people only make these millions of dollars for a period of time, you know. But Sarah never really hit that strata in terms of payment for services. I mean, she did very, very well, I'm sure. By the fact that I made a living for 10 years, I mean, I'm sure she did very, very well. But she was very, very insecure.
Yeah, I don't know too much about, you know, her love affairs. I knew all the guys, but see, a lot of them were managers, but I call them damages, you know, because and Sass was very easily led about that, especially if she's in love with somebody, you know. But that was her thing.
I've got a crush on you, sweetie pie, all the day and night time. Hear me sigh, I never had the least notion that I could fall with so much emotion. Could you could you care for a cunning cottage we would share? Well, we'll pardon my mush, 'cause I have got a crush, my baby. I've got a crush, my baby. I've got a crush, my baby, on you.
Speaking of my mom and men is a real touchy subject because it's something that she never liked to discuss. You know, it's like you talked about an ex-husband and she'd go, you know.
At least three times a week, she called me from somewhere. You know, I told her, "What do you call me, pester me? Let me alone." You know, but she called me about her new boyfriends. Introduced me to him. She asked me, "Do I like him?" I don't care about it. Are you crazy? He ain't gonna sleep in my bed.
She was the strongest woman that I knew. I mean, she just, I think that earlier she had no control over her life, her career, people always managing her, that when she finally found that strength, she didn't want to let go. And probably the men that she chose couldn't deal with it.
Sarah Vaughan was married and divorced 4 times. Her needs, emotional and professional, were filled by other means. Reliance on old friends like Eckstein and her safe harbor, the California household she kept for some 20 years with her mother and only child.
I traveled with my mom since I was 3 months old. I think by age 5 I had been around the world a few times. And her time at home, she just really valued her relaxation, and she she built this house. She wanted, you know, her own little wing, and she had everything in her bedroom that she possibly needed, and that's where she stayed. And it's not that she was secretive, but she was different people with different people.
We both had influences on each other because I think that's why I loved her so, and her style, and vice versa, the way she was with me. And it was very easy doing duets with Sass, where other people thought it would be a hard thing. But we were both just alike. We knew just where each other was going.
My heart's on fire, the flame grows higher, but we will weather the storm. What do I care? What do I care? How much it may storm? We've got our love to keep us, and endless love to keep us. We've got our love to keep us warm.
She was like a little sister to me. Johnny Gary's told me I ruined Sass. He said, because you know what? She tries to do everything you do, and she forgets she's a girl.
Well, there were many incidents of Sarah's comic forgetfulness, I called it, creation of conundrums, forgetting her passport in Europe, packing at the hotel in the morning to embark on 3 flights taking us through 4 or 5 countries that day, using all these different monies and exchanges because we have to get off the plane, spend 2 hours there, get back on in another country, get that money. Sarah somehow is one of the few people I know to have passed all these international borders without a passport, miraculously. I don't know how she came out of it all the time. I guess she had a great diplomatic way about her. She'd giggle, as she would often do, and everybody would say, fine, go on.
For most of her life, Sarah was on the road. From concert halls in Tokyo to nightclubs in Copenhagen, from seemingly impromptu club sets with just her trio to elaborately scored Gershwin programs with full symphony orchestras, some songs became indelibly hers.
And, you know, I've been singing Misty since 1958. I did the album with Quincy in Paris. And I've been singing, I mean, really practically every show. And now I find out if I just leave it out just for the fun of it, and I can't get off stage until I do that number.
Look at me. I was helpless as a kitten off a tree. Feel like I'm clinging to a cloud I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play. Might be the sound of your hello, that music I hear. I get misty the moment you're near. You can say that you're leading me on, and it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you on my own. Would I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove? I'm too misty and too much in love. The evening breeze caress the trees tenderly. The trembling trees embrace the breeze, 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 tenderly. Then you and I came wandering by and lost in a sigh where we forget how two hearts met breathlessly. Your arms open wide and close me inside. You took my lips, you took my love so tenderly.
I would never believe that she was going to have a sick day in her life in listening to her perform. Maybe once in the last year or the last 6 months, I heard her and thought maybe, oh, sass, you know, just a little on pitch. Off pitch on one or two things, but that's all.
For the last year or so, she was in denial. She knew something was wrong. What we did notice, and the only thing we did notice, was in going to the airports and having to walk these tremendously long concourses. In that last year, Sarah would become winded and stop at a phone booth or, you know, the phone machine or a trash can and just rest her arms on it and go and breathe deeply and catch her breath. And that was the first thing I noticed. Never would she have a problem breathing on stage during a performance. I mean, she just sailed right through that. You'd never know from that.
I talked to her on the phone a lot, you know. She cussed me out, called me all kind of lying bastards. I tell her I was coming over there. Yeah, no, she was son of a bitch. Oh, I'd get it real good. A lot of times I really thought I was going to go, you know? But I remember the way I want it. You know, they say she got so skinny, you know, for the cancer. I don't want to see that.
So I know Sarah is somewhere saying,
yeah, just you're you're child.
she's somewhere right now having a ball, man. She's in good company. Golly. Somebody said when she died, said well, Basie needed a vocalist.
Just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair. Sure, my lines, no one is there. Is there? Don't you love farce? My fault, I feel. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. Well, the clowns sending the clowns. Don't bother, they're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this late in my clowns. There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year.
See, Sarah Vaughan, the sound of Sarah Vaughan is something that I don't care how long, if you still got any record of it at all, you'll love it if you hear it. You know, some of the things she's done. So that belongs to her. Things belong to people, you know, and you enjoy them for that. See, you can have your favorites, and she was mine. So I can say it that way, that she was my favorite singer, but you know, somebody else has another one. Yes, you know. But I like to know who they are.
That I dare to dream.